Celyna Trần sinh ra ở miền Nam California. Cô đã bắt đầu học múa từ lúc 4 tuổi với nhiều thể loại như jazz, tap dance, ballet và múa đương đại. Tuy nhiên, cô bé không thực sự thích môn nào cho đến khi 11 tuổi. Cô nhận ra chính ballet là môn cô sẽ gắn bó. Celyna đã tham gia và đạt được thành tích cao ở nhiều cuộc thi trong nước Mỹ và quốc tế. Năm 13 tuổi, Celyna được mời tham gia vào Học viện Ballet Bolshoi ở thủ đô Moscow, nước Nga. Đây là một trong những trung tâm đào tạo ballet hàng đầu thế giới. Tại đây, cô được huấn luyện bởi những tên tuổi nổi tiếng của Học viện Ballet Bolshoi. Sau 5 năm khổ luyện với nhiều môn học và kỳ thi, Celyna đã nhận được bằng tốt nghiệp từ Học viện Ballet danh giá này. Trở lại Mỹ, cô tiếp tục sinh hoạt tại Học viện Inland Pacific Ballet ở thành phố Montclair, California. Nơi đây cô tham gia trình diễn và huấn luyện các học viên ballet. Vào tháng 12 tới đây, Celyna sẽ tham gia trình diễn với những vai chính trong vở ballet Nutcracker, một tác phẩm ballet nổi tiếng trong mùa Giáng sinh theo truyền thống văn hóa nghệ thuật Hoa Kỳ. PhoBolsaTV đã có buổi trò chuyện với Celyna khi cô đang tập luyện tại Học viện Inland Pacific Ballet.
During those 4 years without my family, I went through a lot of hard training to finally get to where I am. And I can say it wasn't really easy in the ballet world. It's really competitive.
Really?
Yeah. So like even if they're your friends, they're not really your friends, you know, because everyone's competing for one spot. Everyone's competing for the teacher's attention. So you're basically all by yourself.
Wow, that is difficult.
Yeah.
When with the beauty from outside, people don't understand that.
Done so many different other styles of dancing besides classical ballet. I started pretty young when I was 5, doing just like, you know, tap, jazz, all of that, because my mom wanted me to have some sort of like exercise, and like when she was young, she's also danced. So that's why she put me into dancing. And then at the age of 10, that's when I really started doing classical ballet. But it wasn't really like professional training until I came here to Inland when I was 11, and that's when I started like taking it more seriously, when I started actually finding out that I actually love to do classical ballet.
You said you try different dances.
Yeah.
Why you end up with ballet?
I Never really found any. I didn't really like tapping or jazzing. There was nothing wrong with it. Like, I just was never really good at it. And then my mom, bringing it back to my mom, she also did classical ballet when she was younger. So she like pushed me into it. To be honest, when I was younger, I didn't really like it. My mom would have to wake me up to like force me to go to dance. But then, as I said, I slowly started to like it, and then that's why I thought I could try to take the professional route for it.
Ballet take a lot of training. Can you tell us about your training?
I started training at Inland when I was 11, and then I moved to Russia at 13 to attend the Bolshoi Ballet Academy in Moscow, and that took me 4 years of like hard Vaganova training. And during those 4 years, I learned a lot because I got to see like how harsh ballet actually is, because when you're in Russia and you're not with your family, it's kind of like really hard. Sorry. It's just a lot.
Yeah, I can tell.
And like during those 4 years without my family, I went through a lot of hard training to finally get to where I am. And I can say it wasn't really easy because the teachers there, obviously, they're not like here where they're really nice. They're like, that was bad, you need to lose the weight, like all of that harsh kind of words. But in a way, I thought that was really good because it made me mentally stronger and like also physically. So that's what you need in ballet. Yeah.
Wow, sound very harsh.
Yeah.
Sound very Russian.
Yeah. So, but now like after that, I just realized I'm actually thankful for everything that I went through, all the hardships, because now like I'm better than when I was younger, and I'm more technically trained. So now I can just enjoy the feeling of being on stage without having to worry about like, oh, I need to get my leg up, I need to put it in a nice position and all of that, because now it's just there for me.
Yeah, you survive Russian
Yeah.
classes, then you survive anywhere else.
Yeah.
But from the beginning, how did you get into that opportunity?
Yeah. When I attended summer intensives when I was 13, as I said, and then they just happened to see me, and then they sent me.
How do they happen to see you? Like somewhere you perform, or they came to school to recruit?
It's like a summer intensive, so it's like kind of like you go and take classes with the teachers kind of thing, and it's like kind of like a intense kind of a summer course, if I can put it like that. And the teachers during the performance noticed me, and then that's when they invited me and sent me like an invitation letter to go. But obviously at first my mom and dad didn't agree.
Didn't agree?
Yeah, because
Why?
they said I was too young, and it was like all the way like across the world, you know? So like they're like,
At
oh
13.
no. Yeah, but then I finally convinced them. I was like,
You are the one who convinced them.
yeah. I was like, I think this is like my only chance. So I just want to
But
go
probably
for it.
in the invitation letter, they don't put anything like harsh work in there.
No,
So
they
you
just
didn't
said like,
expect it.
oh yeah, we want to invite you to attend the Bolshoi Ballet Academy and all of that. They don't say anything about it. Yeah, but
It must be very difficult. That's why you very emotional when you talk about that, and I want to hear more about that. Like, when did you when you first realize it is very difficult? And the very first section, or it's go gradually?
well, it was just gradually, because obviously the first year I have to be thankful for my mom, because she stayed with me the whole year.
She stayed with you for the
Yeah.
whole year.
Then after
Where
that-
was this? In Moscow, or?
in Moscow, like the center of Moscow. And then after it got harder, because the first year is like a trainee, you know? So basically you have an end of the year exam, and there they give you a score, to see if you can move on to the courses. So it's like 5 being the best and 3 is like passing, and then after that it's like you get kicked out, obviously. So then
Do you see anyone get kicked out? Do you know anyone get kicked out?
yes,
Yes?
there was
Wow.
quite a few that got kicked out, and I was lucky I had a good teacher, and like she taught me a lot so I could get a good score so then I can go on to the courses. Then when you enter the courses, that's where it gets really, really tough because you have so many like different classes. Like you have, of course, classical, then you have pas de deux, which is like duet dancing, and then you have character, you have historical, you have modern, and then obviously all the academic classes that they teach in Russian for you to achieve the diploma. So that's why it was just really kind of stressful, especially in the graduating year. It gets even more because you have the graduation exams, and if you don't pass the graduation exams, you don't get a diploma. Like even if you stayed there first course, second course, and third course, if you don't pass the graduation exams, you don't get a diploma at all.
Can you retake it so you can get your diploma, or you just have one chance?
You only have one chance.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, from what I know, you only had one chance. So it doesn't matter what score you got in first course, what score you got in second course. That doesn't matter. It depends on your graduation year. And obviously for me, during my graduation year, it was like really stressful because that's when COVID started. And we basically took online for a whole year. And then the last month, they're like, you can come back. So they gave us our visa, and we only had 1 month to prepare for our graduation exams. So it was like really stressful.
Oh.
Yeah.
So when did COVID come, then you have to come back to the US from Russia,
Yeah.
but continue online courses
Yeah.
until you take your graduation
Yeah.
exam.
Mhm. That was during second course. I came back because borders were closing, and I came back and I took classes online. And then when we got to third course, that's when they actually had a full schedule for us, and we had to go by Russia time. So that means I woke up in the middle of the night to take all my academic classes, and then like early in the morning around like, let's say like 5 or 6, I took classical and then all the other classes. So it was really tiring. I was kind of like a night owl.
Wow, yeah,
I woke
it's
up
so
in-
difficult,
Yeah.
so different.
Uh-huh.
You can write a book about that.
Yeah, I can. I hope one day I can to tell my experience.
So you took your final exam and you passed.
Thankfully, I did pass, and I passed everything with good marks, and then I could get a diploma, that was the only thing I was stressed about when I went back to Russia. But that's all behind me right now.
Yeah. And when you take the final exam, is on site, not online.
It was on site. We went back to Russia, as I was saying, and we had 1 month of like intense, getting ready for the graduation exam. Even our teacher was a little bit stressed because she's like, there's only 1 month, like there's so much we can prepare for, like with so little time, like it's just really hard. But yeah, there was only 4 of us, and it was just really hard. I can say during my classical exam, since in Moscow in the summer it's really, really hot, I almost fainted during the exam because we were non-stop doing each combinations. Yeah, so.
How many years totally for that program?
4 years.
4 years, like
4
a
years.
bachelor degree right there.
It's, basically like that.
Yeah. During that 4 years, what is the most difficult moment that you can share with us?
I would say, obviously, being away from family was really hard because whenever you like bumped into a problem, you're just yourself, Because over there, obviously, you have friends, but in the ballet world, it's really competitive.
Really?
Yeah. So like even if they're your friends, they're not really your friends, because everyone's competing for one spot. Everyone's competing for the teacher's attention. So you're basically all by yourself.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
When with the beauty from outside, people don't understand that.
Like obviously I'm like saying a lot of like harsh things about ballet. Ballet is not just about being competitive and stuff. It's just obviously because with so many female dancers, obviously for females they're more competitive because there's so little spots in companies and everyone's trying to fight for that one role that everyone wants to dance, even if it's just the core part. So everyone brings it to 100, but I think ballet is just also like, for me, it's not, I don't think about the competitive side anymore. I just think as long as I can dance on stage, that's where I'm happiest. You know, I can just like be free and everything. So like ballet is not all that hard.
But also, like on the other side, you have to be competitive to get far into your career, isn't it?
You have to be mentally strong because there's a lot of stuff that like weighs you down. So you have to be strong like mentally and physically, obviously, with all the works we do.
Absolutely. So, what about the moment that you get mean by your trainer, your teacher? You got any of that?
Of course, like especially in Russia.
What is the worst one? Tell us.
Especially in Russia, I don't. The teachers have said a lot of like kind of harsh things.
Impossible thing.
Yeah, some say like even when you're trying your hardest, they're like saying like you're not working hard enough. That wasn't good. Or sometimes they would say even harsher things. They'll be like, you need to lose weight. You kind of look a little more healthier. Yeah, so in Russia, obviously, they have a really strict, they have strict standards there.
Different culture.
Yeah, but all in all, as I said, it's not all that bad there. Like I learned a lot there. And then the most important, I learned how to be like more disciplined and more determined because there all the dancers are, they're just, they're more here. They're like, they want it more. So then you have to give it like more than 100% to be better than them.
Right. So you already trained in Russia and also you got trained in the US too.
Yeah.
What do you think? Which one is like gonna be more beneficial to the students?
I would say for younger kids, it's better more the Russian way because then they become more disciplined. Because you have to start training at such a young age to build your body correctly. And if you're younger and you're just like everywhere, then as you grow older, it becomes a habit and that carries along into your dancing. So for sure, for younger kids, they need to be more disciplined and also know how to work their muscles correctly for them as they grow older to be able to use them better. Yeah.
I understand that beside ballet, with 4 years there, you also learn quite a few like Russian language,
Yes.
culture, and
Yeah.
other things. Share it with us.
So at the academy, to be able to get a diploma, you have to take like a certain amount of hours of academics and all of that. Let's talk about the academics. In academics, like they teach it all in Russian. So obviously with that, we have to take Russian language classes to be able to understand what the teacher is saying. And we learned a lot about ballet history. We learned a lot about like culture, not just Russian, but like all like paintings and art and all of that. We learned about that. We learned about
Pushkin, the Pope.
Yeah, and we also learned about social studies, like just like the basic like general education, social studies, math, even literature. We read a lot of Russian art, like authors, poems, all of that. So it was kind of fun in a way because I got to learn it in a different language. I still have my notebooks, like
Yeah.
yeah.
You got to say some Russian for us.
I can. What would you
Yes.
like me to say?
Say something and then translate it into English.
I can introduce myself. Меня зовут Celyna Trần. Мне сколько лет? Мне 19 лет. Я училась в Московской академии хореографии 4 года. And I don't know if I used the correct grammar, it's been a while, but I basically just said, hello, my name is Celyna Trần. I am 19 years old, and I studied at the Moscow State Academy of Choreography for 4 years.
Nice.
It's kind of
And you back to the U.S. after you
Yeah.
graduated
Mm-hmm.
and go back to inland school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm very thankful to Inland because they allowed me to come in and like gave me performances to just like keep my body in shape and stuff. So I'm just really grateful that I can also be back at my home studio from where I like started professionally focusing on classical and just perform here. I'm really
So
thankful.
you started ballet training from since 11 years old
Yes.
until now. Then is this interrupting your regular education like as any other American kids?
For me, it didn't really like.
So you still like doing ballet and still going to school like other kids?
Mhm,
or
I
what?
do online.
Mhm.
Online schooling. It is a bit tough because for online you have to be more like strict with yourself. You're like you have to do this class, you have to finish your homework, turn it in. For me that's kind of hard because I'm always like I don't want to study, I don't want to do that and all of that. But it is harder, but I do it.
So you finish your high school just like any other student here?
Yeah, I kind of struggled with the Russian classes and American school at the same time. So that time it was kind of really hard because I had to focus on like 2 schools at the same time. But I got through it.
Right.
It's all good.
So what is your schedule now? What is your work now?
It kind of depends. Like right now I'm also like dancing with the IPB2 and company, and during the afternoons if I'm not dancing I teach kids and pass my knowledge to them.
Great. So
Yeah.
you consider ballet going to be your permanent career, or it's like a temporary career as a passion as well?
Teaching for sure is like right now is like it's like a hobby for me because I love to pass down my knowledge that I learned. But as for dancing, I really would like to pursue this as my profession and become a professional ballerina. Yeah.
What is your widest dream in terms of career?
If we're talking about like big dream, my biggest dream is to dance like on stages all over the world and like dance solo roles and principal roles. But if we're talking about small, then it's just to be able to perform on stage because that's where I feel alive, is when I'm performing on stage.
You're gonna participate as, in a very important role in the Nutcracker. Tell us about that opportunity and your role in it.
I'm really like glad they gave me this opportunity to this year perform as Sugar Plum Fairy. When I was younger, I've always watched like older girls dance this role and dance this paw and dance the coda and everything, and I was like, one day I want to dance that. And then to be able to like accomplish that goal of mine, I'm really happy and grateful that I can dance it.
As a ballet dancer, is this like a short career when you have to stop at some certain age, isn't it?
Usually for a dancer, if they can dance at 40, that's already really good.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, it just depends on every dancer's body. It depends on how they take care of it. Some dancers, sadly, you know, due to a lot of injuries or just a lot of work, they don't make it past 40. They probably like mid 30s, and they're like burned out and done. But with dancers who really take care of their body, some, I can say, I've watched some dancers like past their 40s, even some in their 50s. Like, I know this one Russian ballerina, her name is Maya Plisetskaya, and she danced the Dying Swan at 60 years old.
Wow.
And she still continued to dance at 60. So it really just depends on every dancer.
If they stop dancing, then what is their option?
Some like to become teachers, or like, I think how repetitors, which is like they handle like corps de ballet, or some even go to like other stuff like Pilates, or like maybe, yeah, like Pilates, or like maybe sometimes yoga, like just to like find different ways to help dancers, younger dancers.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they just take a completely different route.
With the kids who want to come into ballet, or their parents want to lead their kids into this career, what is your advices for them?
Honestly, just if you want to be a ballet dancer, you have to come in with the mindset that it's not easy. Like, you can't just think, because as you like performances, all they see is like they're on their tippy toes in a nice beautiful tutu, and for young dancers they only think like, oh, ballet is just in a beautiful tutu and all of that, but they don't see the behind the scenes. So for younger dancers, I would say you just have to come in with the mindset that it's not going to be easy, the teachers are not going to go easy on you. And it's not just also the kids, the parents have to be fully committed into like taking their dancers to the studio to take class every single time, and to attend rehearsals all the time, on time. Yeah, so it's just basically, for dancers, they need to think it's not easy. It takes years of training to get to a professional like level. But all in all, it's just more of a whole family commitment, because they can't just not, they just want them to go to dance but don't take them, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of difficulties and obstacles. Then what is the reward for them?
The reward?
Mm-hmm.
The reward is that they can shine on stage. Like, after years of hard work, then they can like go on stage and like show to the audience, it's like years of hard work and I'm dancing on the stage beautifully. Like, I feel, for me, that's the biggest reward.
For the audience, when they look at the ballet dancer, they see the beautiful of the body, they see the beautiful of music, the dance and the movement. What about on the ballet dancer mind? What do they have when they dance, when they go on stage?
As ballet dancers, when we go on stage, for me, I don't know if this is all dancers, I try, obviously I have all these corrections that I'm going through my head, but when I go on stage, I try not to think about anything, because I feel like if you think about it too much, then it's just gonna like weigh you down. You're like, oh no, I didn't do that correctly, or I didn't do that position correctly. Like, it weighs, it's like a lot. So for me, I just, when I go on stage, I just am happy. If I dance with a partner, I like interact with him, but I just try not to think about anything. But off stage, then I can be like, oh, dang it, that didn't work, or like, oh, I didn't get on point that well. Like, off stage, I start like criticizing myself. But after that, on stage, I don't think about anything.
Okay. You are training in 4 years in Russia, so you must have a lot of memories with that country, with Moscow. So you think you're going to be back sometime, and what do you feel about the current situation where all the politics and war going on right now involving Russia?
I do wish one day to go back to Russia and visit it, because that's where it all really started for me. I really do wish one day I can go back to Russia and visit it, maybe visit the academy and see if my old teachers are there and I can say hi to them. As for politics, I just really think the art has nothing to do with politics, and I just really hope it stays that way, because like for artists, we just bring joy to the audience, and I don't think it has anything to do with politics.
Great. A lot of interesting information that you share with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you want to tell our audience before we end it here?
I want to say cảm ơn to everyone. No, I just wanted to say, like, if really everything that experiences that I talked about can really like bring more Vietnamese like dancers, I'd be so happy to like open the door for them. And I just really want to put the word out.
Mm-hmm.
We actually danced a lot during our season, last season, so we're very familiar with each other, and our partnership has grown each performance, so I'm excited to dance Cavalier with her. Very beautiful. She comes alive on stage. I love watching her. As a partner, she's very patient, and I feel like we work well together. Yeah, and excited to be doing more shows with her.
7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Good.
It's actually an interesting story. I grew up and trained with Inland Pacific Ballet from the time I was 11 years old as well, and got my pointe shoes here, and danced Nutcracker and fell in love with it. Victoria Koenig, who's the founding director, she just inspired me into the art of ballet. I was able to then go and train with Ballet Rambert in London, a very prominent company for dance history. And I studied and danced in London for 8 years. And then I met my husband, who is a musician, and we started creating works together. And when we had our first child, Vicky said, "Will you come back and help me bring Nutcracker to the stage and spice it up a little bit?" And I said, "Sure." So that was kind of my journey. And recently, since COVID, Vicky started to step back, and she asked me if I would become the executive director for the company. And I took on that challenge full-heartedly. And that's where we're at. Last year was a complete rebuilding season, and that continues this season. And I am just ecstatic to have dancers who I trained over my course here, who've gone, like myself, on these journeys with these companies all over the world, and who are coming back to help us restart the company back and to revitalize it. We've started IPB2, and members that you saw just perform a second ago are part of that second company. And they are students like Celyna Trần, who just completed her training and got a certificate in Russia, who've come back and are bringing their talent to our community, to their hometown. So I get so excited because Nutcracker is a holiday family tradition to bring this very special group of dancers in to help us build the company and bring that tradition back alive here. The Academy runs in the afternoon, and we also have a morning conservatory program. We train students of all ages and backgrounds, and no matter what their dance journey might be, if it's just something they do for fun or something they want to make a career out of, we try to help them follow their own journey. But we have a professional training facility and program for all those pre-professional dancers. And they go, like I was mentioning earlier, all over the United States on scholarships with prominent companies: New York City Ballet, San Francisco Ballet, Boston, National Ballet of Canada, Russia, Rambert. I mean, the list just goes on. So it's really fun to see them flourish. The company was established. This is our 28th Nutcracker season. And I'm taking the reins for the second time this year. And we've decided to do a creative venture. So we brought together these members of IPB2 along with our old company members who are still here dancing with us to create a season of fresh new works as well as classics. So this year we did Giselle, and we're about to do a brand new creation of a ballet musical called Lillipata that my husband wrote the music for. And we're working with these young talented dancers to create this exciting combination of musical theater and classical ballet work together. So Celyna and I go way back. It's kind of funny. I heard her mom say earlier that she started with us when she was 11, like me. And I remember her teaching her for the first time. I taught her in modern dance, and I got to create some very first contemporary pieces that she competed at YAGP with. She was always one of those students that gave you back energy versus just taking energy. So it was always great to work with her because she would take the corrections and she would give you more than what you asked for. And she was always hungry and eager to learn more. So seeing her come back and seeing her turn into this beautiful ballerina before our eyes is just such an astonishing transformation from those first classes. And to now be that next step of her guiding journey on her professional career and be able to feature her in the lead role as Sugar Plum, it moves me to tears because she brings this artistry on stage that can't be trained. You can train dancers to do technical abilities and lifts and turns, but the energy exchanged with the audience and the artistry is the untrainable. And to me, that's what Celyna has. She's just captivating on stage. The moment she steps out, your eyes can't come off of her. But beyond that, she's such a down-to-earth, empathetic person who's really kind and generous and caring. And she's already giving back, teaching classes in the academy and giving back to the students who are the next generation like herself. So I think just as like this whole person, artistically, technically, emotionally, professionally, she's just this total wonderful package that I'm so excited to see flourish on stage this season with us. Of course, I want to be possessive of her and keep her as long as we can because she is a star outright. I hope to see her flourish in the world stage, whatever may come her way, performing roles and making them her own, creating new works. Maybe she's going to be a choreographer. I think in the long term, I see her as this is her life's passion and work, and whatever that path may lead her down over the years. First is, you know, a soloist, a principal, leading companies, creating her own work, her own company, maybe training dancers, becoming a teacher. It's exciting to see. I'm going to be following her for sure for many years to come.
Many kids, including Vietnamese American kids here, and their parents considering ballet for their kids. But it's not an easy choice, it's a difficult choice. What is your advice for them?
I think, you know, it's a tricky choice for many reasons because, like I was mentioning earlier, we like to follow the path of each dancer and what their journey is. And if there's a student, Vietnamese student or family, that really wants to pursue it, it's a commitment that the whole family has to make because the training is rigorous. If you want to pursue this at the professional level, it's 6 days a week, it's rehearsals, it's training, it's taking care of their bodies, you know, because as you saw earlier, the athleticism involved, you know, how do you prevent injuries, chiropractic care, you know, so it's a really big time investment. And I think for some families, making that decision is really important, to know that it's a family decision versus kind of always battling like you can't go to rehearsal, you have to be here at this event, but knowing that that's the choice. Or maybe you're going to pursue it as something fun that you want to do and participate with and have as a hobby and not have to have as much time commitment. That's what I would say is kind of some of the things that they should weigh before jumping in head first into the ballet world.